Okay, so what we're going to do is actually re-examine a passage in the Haggadah that we've seen before from an angle that we haven't addressed, but with a Shavuot twist on it. First, I want to tell you an insight that I've got to be honest is completely pshat, and I don't think I ever processed until this week. So it was there was a worldwide unity learning thing put on by Shevirat Haluchot with like Rosh Yeshiva and Rabbanim and teachers from around the world in the Dati Leumi world, the Modern Orthodox world, Haredi world, etc. in memory of the Nebuchadnezzar. One of the shiurim that caught my eye was by Rabbi Blachman, who's was a Ram at KBY.
Which Rabbi Blachman?
Mendel Blachman at KBY. And he said that Shavuot is the holiday of where we celebrate the receiving of the broken luchot, which I never thought of, but it's true, right? We celebrate Kabbalah HaTorah, except the Torah that we got, we never got. Meaning, Moshe goes up to the mountain, we celebrate Kabbalah HaTorah, but those are luchot that get shattered, which means we celebrate that day, which I guess I never really just put it that simply, but it's obviously true. We never actually got those luchot, but that brings us back to the passage that we spent 2 weeks on, I think at least, on the breaking of the luchot. Chag Sameach Avi. Chag Sameach Avi. But I want to take it from a different angle. So maybe let's remind ourselves of that Gemara, which I gave you here in 2, just the key lines. Asher Shivarta v'samtam ba'aron, Tani Rav Yosef melamed shaluchot v'shivrei luchot munachim ba'aron. Remember this, that the luchot and the broken luchot are in the aron together. Mikam v'tamid chacham sheshachach talmudo machmad so she'en nogin bo minhag bizayon. From here we derive the Talmud scholar who loses his learning. We don't disgrace him, and Amarish Lakish. So we spent a lot of time on that first line. 2 shiurim, I'm not going back to that one. We spend a lot of time on this line as well. That Amarish Lakish pa'amim shebitula shel Torah zeu yisoda dichtiv asher shibarta. Amar lo hakadosh baruch hu lemoshe yasher kol chacha shibarta. God says to Moshe, shkoyech, that you broke the luchot, and from here we learn that sometimes the invalidation of the Torah, the nullification of the Torah is itself its kiyum. Okay? So we discussed that a little bit in some of the midrashim. There seems to be a machloket about, in fact, whether Moshe did this of his own accord, or whether God instructed him in it, and that was one of the meta questions that you have to ask about Tanakh, which is, are Nevi'im capable of doing things that they're not instructed to do? But I want to look at it from a different angle, and this is from the primary Haggadah that we're going to be studying, is this Gemara in Eruvin, which is a series of statements, I didn't even give you all of them, about Talmud Torah. And I want to try to get at the ideas here, and specifically the idea in contrasting the presentation in Eruvin and the one in Menachot. The main idea I want to focus on tonight, if we have time for other ideas, great. If not, this is the main idea I do want to make sure to get to, is from Rav Hutner, because Rav Hutner, I don't think we've really seen Rav Hutner a lot, even though he really has very profound ideas in general, and on Haggadah, he has many of his comments are really quite insightful. And if Rabbi Blau heard that I had been giving Haggadah for 2 years, I'm not sure I've quoted Rav Hutner maybe once, he would be very upset at me. So I will. So I will make sure to quote him tonight. It's really not on purpose. It's just I'm not like super well. Well, I'm just not also super well read in Rav Hutner, which is Chata'ai ani maskir hayom. I just.
Rabbi, there's like a page you haven't read.
There are many things I have not read. Pachad Yitzchak is a philosophical treatise. I've read some of it, but he's very long and very dense. Fascinating. Okay. So, let's look at the Gemara in Eruvin. So the Gemara in Eruvin says as follows. Amar Rabbi Elazar. What does it mean that the Torah is like jewelry on your neck? It may sim adam atzmo ka'anak. If you make it hidden, like seen and not seen, meaning you don't like showy about your Torah, it will be established. V'imlav, if you're showy about it, ein talmudo mitkayim. Right, so there's this value to humility in Talmud Torah. V'amar Elazar may dichtiv. V'chayoka aragin abosen, emesim adavko karugasher kol doshin bo, ukibosam zesho kol mit bas minba talmud lo mitkayim. V'imlav ein talmudo mitkayim. And you see several of these statements of humility. If you skip down a bit, so skip down to the next, like 5 lines down. So Amar Rebbe Elazar, Mai Dechtiv Charut Al Haluchot. What does it mean that they were? What does Charut literally mean? Charut, engraved. Right, the words were engraved on the Luchot. So now the Gemara makes a radical statement. Il Malay Lo Nishtabru Luchot Harishonot Lo Nishtakha Torah MiYisrael. If the first Luchot had not been broken, Torah would never have been forgotten from the Jewish people.
What's the connection?
Rav Acha Bar Yaakov Amar, Rabbi Acha Bar Yaakov said, Ein kol umma v'lashon sholetet bohem. No nation could have power over them. Shneimar charut, al tikri charut, ela cheirut. And no nation can ever empower them, because don't read it as charut, read it as cheirut, freedom. Okay? And then the Gemara goes on for more statements about how in order to keep the Torah you need humility. Right? Many other statements, Rav Abarei de Rav Yosef, Rachama Havilei Milta, Rav Yosef Bahadei, Madamali Mekipure, sorry, the one before that, Amar of Mata, Maidichtiv, Madarma, Tanai, Mesa Mataras, Mokimit Barze, Shekol Dashinbo, Talmudo Mitkayim Biado. If you make yourself like a desert that people can trample on, right, your Torah will be Mitkayim. Again, these humility things, right? You remember the Torah if you are humble. Okay, many statements like this.
So, would these humility statements get completely thrown out if the love was hadn't been broken?
Well, let's think about this. Okay, let's get into this Gemara for a second. Okay, I have a few questions in this Agata. First of all,
what's the limit?
Yeah. First of all, what's the limit? Second of all, why is this statement bracketed amongst humility statements? Right, on both sides. Right, there's a bunch of humility statements. In the middle, this Torah would never be forgotten. Right in the middle.
Are you asking why it's being said, or specifically why it's there?
First, why is it being said at all? Why is it said here?
So both.
Yeah. And the third question, or even what is being said, third question is this Gemara in tension with the Gemara in Menachot? Right? Meaning the Gemara in Menachot says, God said to Moshe, Shkoyech! Good job, breaking the Torah. Shkoyech! God said it like that. He spoke Yeshivish, right? Clearly he didn't use proper grammar. He said Shkoyech, okay?
It's called how Moshe wore shrine.
What? Biduk, and God doesn't speak with proper Hebrew grammar, right? That's obviously what you don't have to do. So I don't know.
That just leads to the question.
What?
Why do we have the story about Moshe that seeing God's tefillin and not Yisrael?
Okay, good. And what does it say on God's shrine wall? We know what it says on his tefillin, but what does it say on his shrine wall? Good kasha, I don't know. I give up. Okay, good. What do you think? That is an intention. Meaning, the Gemara in Eruvin says, Torah is forgotten because of the breaking of the Luchot.
I think the only way you can say that it moves to the Gemara Menachos is if it's in a better scenario now that Torah can be forgotten.
Oh, okay. Well, let's be careful. Possibility one is, look, it was the right thing to do in the moment, but there were costs. Meaning, the Luchot needed to be broken to save the Jews. That doesn't mean there wasn't a cost. In which case, they could completely work together. Right? That would be one way of saying it.
Isn't that ironic though? Because they were broken to save them, but we said that if they were not broken, then we would have never forgotten Torah.
Correct, but so you'd say, but they had to save their lives, right? No, so I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Possibility one is, look, you have a choice: die or live, but forget Torah. Which is worse? Dying. So maybe Moshe was right.
Yeah.
Right, that's possibility one.
Maybe you kept around the Moshe's new nation who've never forgotten Torah. They've been kept around.
I don't know. So possibility two possibility 2 is, look, maybe something like Yosef's saying, but maybe possibility 2 is, no, this is a machloket. Meaning, the Gemara in Menachot is saying what Moshe did was unabashed, was unequivocally good, and the Gemara in Yerushalayim is saying no, it wasn't, right? And maybe like Yosef is saying, look, if the Jews had been killed, so the people who would have survived with Moshe would have had eidetic memories. Oh, Baruch Hashem, right? It would have been a nation. The Jews would have died, but the people who would have replaced us would have all had eidetic memories. Baruch Hashem, right? That's what we all dream of. Okay, right? They all would have been Rav Ovadia Yosef. That would have been like, that would have been the Jesus. What?
Photographic memory is something that always a good thing.
Chanami, I was saying.
For Torah.
Now, so those are two extremes, but there is a third possibility, and that is,
In between.
right?
The third possibility would be that it is not an ultimate for whether what he did was good, it is whether what he did was pure good and no bad.
Meaning, it could be that forgetting Torah had benefits. Right? That there's a benefit to forgetting Torah. Now, what might support that read? There is one thing that hints, so there's two ways you could get to that read. One is simply saying there's not a machloket, a sugya. Right? What's another way? This is a bit more subtle, but I think it might be another hint.
Well, both Gemaras can be true simultaneously.
Correct. I said possibility 1 is it's good they didn't die, but there was a cost.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Possibility 2 is it's a stira. Possibility 3 is
Moshe could have.
it's actually a good thing that they forgot Torah.
So it's like mixed in this way.
Meaning that there's bad to it, but it's also good. What might indicate the third read, which I agree is ambitious, as Rav Rosenzweig would say, but what might indicate that almost paradoxical read? What would push me in that direction a little bit?
Essentially the idea that if you don't understand that you're doing something wrong, it's less big problem, right?
Okay, we could come up with technical reasons, but I want to think literarily. What would support that read?
The first thing was that they would never would have forgotten it, and the second thing was.
So I would say a third possible read is, and this is a little bit, and this is the question you have to deal with. Remember, what's the context of the Gemara?
In which one?
The Gemara in Eruvin. You need to be humble in order to make sure that you remember your Torah. So this Gemara that is thrown in the middle, that if the Luchot hadn't been broken, the Jews would never forgotten their Torah, right? It can be there for one of two reasons. Smack in the middle, the sandwiched in. It can be there either as a contrast. Do all these things and you will remember your Torah, but this is a case of forgetting the Torah, or
Or it could be if we didn't have that, if we hadn't broken the Luchos, we never would have gotten these. We never would have gotten these lessons.
meaning there's something about this that is paradoxically, we forgot learning, but it was the secret to being Mekayim. Right? These statements about being humble to be Mekayim the Torah, maybe this is, right, is this a contrasting statement? Or is it right? And that's what, now, if you'd ask me which is more likely, I would say it's, the simplest shot in the Agadata is, we had to break the Luchot to save the Jews. It was the lesser of two evils. And the reason this Gemara is thrown in is because
Well, now that we have these...
we want you to remember Torah. And remember, there was one moment where you lost a heck of a lot of it. That's what I would say the pshat is. Right? But what we're going to see is that Rav Hutner, and maybe I'll start with Rav Hutner so that I can, and if I have time I'll go to the other pieces. Rav Hutner sometimes, and I read an excellent article by Rabbi Yitzi Blau, and this is really what got me thinking about it, that Rav Hutner has this way of taking statements of Chazal, and he just has this way of, he thinks paradoxically. And he tries, and he just has a tendency, and Rabbi Blau writes that he's not sure if it just been Mikra, or this was just like the way he thought, that life is complicated, and therefore you always look for the counter read, like that's just the way he thought life is. He looks at this Gemara and says, this is actually good. This statement is here not because this is parallel to the other statements. Forgetting Torah was paradoxically the only way it could have been mitkayim. Okay, what does that mean? What evidence could you possibly have? So first, before we answer that question, look at Gemara number 3. Because there's one other time that the Jews forgot Torah, according to the Agadic story. Gemara in Tzmura tells you as follows. Gufa, Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Shloshet alafim halachot nishtakchu bimei evlo shel Moshe. 3,000 halachot were lost when Moshe died during the Yimei Evlo shel Moshe. 3,000 halachot were forgotten. Why 3,000?
Because we're 3,000 years old.
No.
Every year.
Because it's assuming they learned 100 halachot a day.
And it was 3.
They lost 100 halachot per day for 30 days.
It was a month. Yeah.
Just mathematics. Okay?
Well, the 100 did.
I don't know. God.
Isn't that
Amrlo! But this is a beautiful, guys, this is a beautiful this is why I want to do this. This is a beautiful pre-Shavuos Agadata. So what did he say? Amrlo Yeshua. So he said to Yeshua, Sha'al! Hey, you know what happened when Moshe forgot Torah? He asked God, so Yeshua knew. Yalla, ask God. Amrlo, lo b'shamayim hi. That was Moshe, I can't do it. I don't ask heaven. Right, Moshe, and this is the Chiddush of, right, Rav Rosenzweig, I remember saying this once, right, the Chiddush, for everyone post-Moshe, asking God you can't do because lo b'shamayim hi. But the Rambam's Chiddush of saying that one of the Yesodei Emunah, one of the Ikarei Emunah, is that Moshe's Nevuah right, is that Moshe's Nevuah is a Cheftza of Talmud Torah. And therefore, right, Moshe is allowed to ask because everything he says becomes Torah. After Moshe, it's not true. He's Moser. But Moshe is the, by virtue of the fact that he spoke Panim el Panim, everything he says becomes Gufa Shel Torah. Okay? But Yeshua can't do that. So Amru lo l'Shmuel. So they ask Shmuel, this is amazing, like meta-historical Agadata. Obviously it's not shot. But it's saying that basically the Jews never recovered. Right? That they were always looking, where are those halachot that we forgot? So Shmuel, who's like the next super leader, right, after Holt Kuvat HaShoftim, they say to him, Sha'al, okay, look, nobody since Yoshua was willing to ask God, so Shmuel, how about you? You're really good at Nevuah. Hey,
let's just ignore all the Shoftim and
correct. Only Shmuel, because Shmuel is equivalent in Chazal's eyes to Moshe and Aaron. Moshe and Aaron, Mechon, Abu Shmuel, Bekarei Shemal. Amr lahem, he said, I can't. Eila ha-mitzvot, she'ein navi reshar chadesh davar me'ata. The mitzvah Moshe gave, that's it. A navi can't be mechadesh something. I'm sorry. Amr Rav Yitzchak, the Gemara then gets even more fun and says, I know which halachot they forgot. And he starts suggesting, says, here's one, the halachot of what happens when the carbon chatas, the owner of a carbon chatas dies. Oh, what do you do to that carbon? That halacha was forgotten. And I'm sure all of you knew this and forgot it and never heard of the halacha.
Wasn't that counterintuitive?
Amr le-Pinchas, they said to Pinchas. Because remember,
there's a slight time thing going.
No, remember in the eyes of Chazal, Pinchas lives through Eliyahu, right? He just lives and lives and lives and lives and lives. Right? He just goes. So whatever. Well, that's more in Kabbalistic literature, whatever. He definitely lives a long time.
Does he continue being?
But anyways, so Amrullah, lo b'shamayim. He also says it's not in heaven. And it goes back and forth. Amrullah Elazar, right? They go back to Elazar. Don't ask me how this time is working. Sha'al, Amrullah, Amr Yehuda Marav, Bishah sheniftar Moshe Rabbeinu l'Gan Eden. Amrullah Yeshua. As Moshe was going to Gan Eden, Yeshua said to him, he said to Yeshua, Sha'al mimeni kol sreichot sheyesh lecha. Ask me anything. Anything you need clarified, I'll say it right now. Amrullah Rebbe. Klum hinachta shah achad valachti l'makom acher lo kach katafti bi umisharto Yoshua ben Nun na'ar lo yimish b'dachawel. He said, I have no sfeikot. I have been with you every second. There's never a minute. I couldn't have missed anything. I know everything.
You know, and then
I know everything. I know everything. Oh, great. Miyad tashash kol kol she Yoshua. Immediately, his eidetic memory goes, 300 lachot fly out the window. We know the lo shva me'et tzvega. He forgot 300 lachot legamrei, and 700 lachot he had a safek on. Oh, very good.
that's fine.
this 300, 700, that's like Shlomo's wives and concubines, right? 1,000 total, 300, 700 division. I don't know if that has any connection to this. It might, for all I know. I have no idea. V'amdu kol Yisrael lahargo. And it gets dramatic. And all the Jews want to kill him. Omer lo kadosh baruch hu.
That's how you solve the problem. Kill the guy who knows all the halachos. Then
No, he forgot the halachos.
he still knows the better than anyone else.
So Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So God intervenes and He says to Yeshua, I said it's a great account. That's wonderful. Lo Omer lecha yefshar. So God says, look, I can't tell you the answers. I can't tell you. I'm not giving it away. Lech tordan b'molchama. I got advice for you. Take them to war. Everyone forgets everything. Right? First one to say, criticism of your politics, start a war somewhere. No. Great, because
domestic trouble will just go fight a war.
Amazing, great. This is an amazing Agada. It's just incredible. So my season Dana, now it gets even more specific. It was 1,700 Kalmachomers, Zerashavas, and Dikduke Sofrim. Amar Rabbi Avo, but here's the line.
Hold on, what's the problem of forgetting a Kalvachom?
I don't know. There's so much in this Agada that we could spend hours on it. But
also, would Kalvachomers fall into the category if you can't ask God about them?
presumably, it's logic. It's logic.
It's logic. Like
So what happens after all this drama? What happens? So good. What happens after all this drama, guys? So Amar Rabbi Avahu. And here's where you get the twist. So were these halachot lost forever? No. Afal pichen hechziran Otniel ben Kenaz mitoch pilpula. Who managed to bring the Torah back? And this doesn't work out historically because Shmuel they already asked, but fine, not important. Otniel ben Kenaz. Who's Otniel ben Kenaz? Yes, which shofet?
That's the first.
Very good. The first shofet. He's the son-in-law of who? Son-in-law. Kalev. Thank you. The son-in-law of Kalev. Shene Emar v'ilkidot yal bekenaz achi Kalev v'yitin lo dichsav v'yitel l'isha. Okay? So now, what does this last line mean? Otniel ben Kenaz not only was the first shofet, he was a groisa lamda. And through his lamdos, he figured out all the halacha that were forgotten.
The 3,000 or the 1,000 that he forgot?
All of them. All 3,000. Again, this doesn't work historically because if Shmuel's the leader, whatever, doesn't matter. For our purposes, let's not try to figure out the history going on here because, again, that means they're not forgotten by the time Shmuel comes. I don't know. So good, but tell me what shot in this line. So there's two possibilities. One is, Baruch Hashem. Right, okay. Really, we should have remembered it. But the Diavad, Otniel gets it back. But what does it sound like in the Gemara? There's two ways of reading it. Is this okay, you know what? It's good. In the end of the day, we thought we lost the Torah. Otniel ben Kenaz was such a lamdan, we managed to get it back. But if Moshe had if we never forgotten it, matov manayim. Or
it's even better. Or
it's
back even though Otniel ben Kenaz.
Or is it that the loss of 3,000 halachot wasn't just. They happened to forget it, now they needed to find it. That was something that had to happen because the Torah in the generation of Moshe was one of we get it from God, but we aren't participants, but
they had to work for it.
Exactly. Is after Moshe, for the Torah to survive, you need people who are invested, and that's actually the chatchila. Like God wanted people to forget. You know, I have one of my rebbeim. Remember Ray Clapper came earlier in the year? Remember Ray Ari Clapper? He came. He gave shir on. What did he give shir on this year? I think what he gave on this year. I have to remember what he gave to us this year. He came. He gave shir earlier in the year.
Who was it?
Ray Clapper. Long time.
I need to remember who tried that one.
Anyways, so. He told me once that he was in Rav Rosenzweig's shir, in Rosenzweig's first shir. The first year Rosenzweig gave in YU, the first year he gave early admissions, so like 12th graders, right? So there's like 8 guys in the shir, small little group. Now, the way Rav Rosenzweig does a sugya is like, if you remember when he gave shir, it's like, There's no stone unturned. None whatsoever. Right? Like when we learned Yevamos, the first 4 weeks were just on the psukim. 4 weeks.
Wow.
Okay? And shir is 2 hours, 3 times a week. Like it's, long. So,
Wait, 3 times a day or a week?
3 times a week.
Oh, it's a day.
Still, 6 hours. That means like 24 hours on the psukim. Like, it was a lot. Something like that. As Ray Clapper said, he had this problem that any sugya he learned with the Rosenzweig, guys, he said any sugya he learned with the Rosenzweig was a problem because it was like, if you imagine the sugya like a field, right? A Rosenzweig shir, it's like locusts descend on. There's nothing left to say afterwards. Like any stone, you haven't left any. It's like you've done everything. Which for certain people that's great, like you're thorough, and certain people want to participate. So he said once that after a few years in shir, he could start learning the sugyas again because he started forgetting what Rosenzweig said, so he could look at it with fresh eyes. And he said this once to Rosenzweig, Rebbe, I can start learning the sugyas again because. I started forgetting what we didn't share. And Rosenzweig, and this is, again, I heard this story like secondhand, but knowing how much Rosenzweig believes in remembering Torah, which is part of where I get my obsession with it, he said to him, good, you can write a spiritual biography called The Benefits of Being on a Low Spiritual Level. Which is... which again, I don't know if that was tongue in cheek. I don't know. He's a very gentle person, so I don't really know. But what? Yes. But Ronald Chumsin also had his moments where he really was not happy in our knowledge of Torah. So, anyways, but
Rabbi, I put one into some of the stories about you with your classes in Toronto.
Yeah. Toronto now. So, what was I going to say? Good. But what this story, I think, as comical as it is, and again, whether it's serious or not, I have no idea, tells you something, which is that there is a level at which, if you've been inundated, if you have all the information, you cannot participate in the sugya. It's just impossible.
What, if you know the information?
Right? Meaning sometimes I feel this way, right? A sugya that I've learned with my rebbeim, right?
How do you ask the question? You won't be the answer to the question.
Okay.
Right? Meaning, like, there's certain sugya that when someone asks me a question, like, it's very hard for me to feel like I'm participating, because what comes to mind? I remember when Rosenzweig gave shir on it, and I just, right? Like, right? I mean, if when someone asks me a question, it's like I go into, my brain just it just spits back what I learned in shir. Right? There is no, I just don't contribute. Right? My brain just I remember once, there's certain sugya. In high school, I remember Friedman once said that he once said to us, he's like, I want you to know the Nekuda Nifla so well that if someone would wake you up in the middle of the night and ask you about this, you would know the answer. You'd be able to explain it. So I took that to heart, and I don't know, 6 years later, 5-6 years later, I was in shir by Rosenzweig, and I don't remember why, I was very exhausted that day. I was falling asleep in shir, and I fell asleep in shir. And Rosenzweig,
I would never do that.
okay, never, yeah. And Rosenzweig called on me probably to wake me up, and asked me in the Nefla, and I kid you not, in my I shook awake, but I repeated it I didn't have to think. I had no contribution. Every piece of analysis for Friedman, in 12th grade, it was boom, and I'm you probably think I wasn't sleeping. I was totally sleeping. It was so satisfying. But there was no contribution from myself at all. Right? It was this has been drilled into my head. The analysis has not changed since I was in 12th grade.
It sounds like the Clarence movie.
Yeah.
That was Q&A.
What?
Yeah.
All Rabbi Friedman does now.
Come on. Anyways, so this though is the tension that Rav Hutner picks up on, So look at the last page here. Look at Mamar Gimel. And if we only get to Rav Hutner, so Dayenu, if we see other sources, Mato. So good. Let's look. The Rav Hutner piece. Mamar this. Okay, that's Mamar Gimel and the Pachad Yitzchak. Okay.
I'm assuming that it's the thing that says Mamar Gimel and it's not labeled the Pachad Yitzchak.
Correct. I that was like look at it and then I put it at the bottom back page. Okay. So he says. So the first paragraph he just says Masechet Shabbat Matchelet B'dinei Hotza'ah. Right. So he's talking about why does Masechet Shabbat start with the laws of carrying. I'm not going to focus on that. Okay. But because we don't have so much time. Look at Os Gimel. Okay. This is where he starts dealing with our sugya. Got it? See how they're divided into Osios? Look at Gimel.
Yeah.
Got it? Sometimes the nullification of Torah is its fulfillment. Shneimar, what's his paradigmatic example? Asher Shibarta. Yasher Koyech. Shkoyech Shibarta. Good, okay? Ma'aseh Shevirat Haluchot hi ma'aseh shel kiyum Torah yidei bitula. And now he says, "V'harei amru chachamim she'ol molei nishtabru luchot la'ita Torah nishtakachet b'Yisrael." But wait a second, doesn't the Gemara say that if you hadn't broken the luchot, the Torah would never have been forgotten? He says you have to read these Gemaras, not l'chadchila, well, you had to break it, but there were consequences. No, you have to read them in synergy. Right? In synergy. Nimtza ifo ki Shevirat Haluchot haya ba gam mishum shecharat Torah. V'meidim anu mikan chiyush nifla ki efshar la Torah shetitrabeh al yidei shecharat Torah. From here we learn that the forgetting of Torah sometimes is what allows for Torah to grow. Ad ki b'ofen ze yitachen lekabel shkoyech avur hashecharat Torah. To the point where God Himself will say shkoyech on forgetting Torah. Upuk chazi mashamur chachamim. He said, I'll prove it to you. Ki shlosh melachot nishtechu b'me'ev lo shel Moshe. Sorry, it was shlosh me'ot or shlosh alafim? Oh, sorry. He said shlosh me'ot, but arguer says shlosh alafim. I'm not sure why he says that. V'chziru matniel ben kanaz b'pilpulo. V'arei divrei Torah lo shel pilpul hachzar alachot. Hein divrei Torah shenabru rak al yidei shecharat Torah. What enabled human beings to recreate the halachot? Forgetting it from Moshe. The entire possibility of machloket, of different positions, is because we forgot. Now, you might think that's bad. The Rambam thinks that's bad.
You're saying, is he saying that's better than just knowing Torah?
Me'achuz. This is where I said, this is what one of Rabbi Blau's examples of the way that Rav Hutner is a paradoxical thinker. Because the Rambam says, Gewalt, right? You forgot Torah, now there's machlokes, that's terrible. You should just have a pristine Torah. And he says, no. This is good. Because if God said shkoyach, He wouldn't say shkoyach if forgetting Torah was unambiguously bad. Right? And instead of just saying, well, it was good but had consequences, he said, no, it must be the forgetting of Torah itself is good. It says, "V'afal pichein halokach amru chachamim afal pishalo mitam alo mitamin halo poslim alo machshirin halo bodrim alo mechayvim." Because the Gemara says that even though these say also, these say mutter, these say tar, these are tamei, elu ve'elu divrei elokim chayim. V'nimtza dekol chilukei adot v'chiluvei sheitor him hagdolah Torah. So what do you learn from here? That machlokes, both positions, are part of the Torah, part of increasing the Torah. V'ha'adarata ha'nodot davka b'kocha shel shechichah Torah. A power that can only come from forgetting. V'chidush od yoter gadol. I'll push it farther. Yotzei lanu mikan ki mirubeh midar havlatat kocha shel Torah shebal peh hamidgaled machlokes adiyot. The power of Torah shebal peh is strengthened and expressed better by machloket then when you agree. According to the Rambam, yes. But for a Hutner, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. For the Rambam, it's a bad thing.
Isn't he just affirming the concept?
Meaning, what do you mean?
He's like, alright, this happens, so...
Correct. Oh yeah, meaning, instead of saying like the Rambam, it happened, now let's deal with it, he is like I said, this is one of Blau's examples of the paradoxical way that Rav Hutner thinks. Is that he dafka wants to think paradoxically because he thinks life is complex or something like that. He says, because even when you reject the halacha, you've created something which is Torah. As long as it's in the rubric of Torah Shebal Peh. Because the Torah is given over by the Chachmei Torah. And if they would agree to accept the rejected position, it would work, which shows you that it's still part of Torah. Yeah. ונמצא כי מחלוקותם של חכמי תורה מגלה את כוחה של תורה שבעל פה, and therefore מחלוקת הרבה יותר מאשר הסכמתם. מחלוקת adds to Torah more than agreement does. מלחמתה של תורה איננה אופן אחד בין אופנים של דברי תורה. It's not just, what?
It adds to the study of
To the chefts of Torah. It adds to the Torah itself.
Assuming that if you...
like I said, I'm analyzing his read here. Right? This is a way of getting into the way Rav Hutner thinks.
He's assuming that if both... He's discussing the classification of yourselves, that Zug is the way of Tuhan. Both sides of Machlokas are Torah. By having Machlokas, you are increasing that Torah.
בדיוק. He says, Ella, שמלחמתה של תורה יצירה חיובית של אלוקי תורה חדשים שאין למצוא, דוגמתם דברי תורה סתם. Al Kain. By the way, there are thinkers who think that the Netziv has this amazing piece in the Kidmat HaEmek, which we might have quoted at some point this year, though I'm not sure, where he argues that God so much wants people to be participating in it that if they're not, He will bring around catastrophes, if that's what it takes. And he's like, the Gaonim view themselves as the responsible transmitters of the tradition of the Bavli, and that drove God so nuts that He kicked the Jews out of Bavel and sent them to France so that Rabbeinu Tam could be born and begin a new movement of Lamdus. This is literally what he says. I kid you not. This is what he says. He said God had to kick the Jews out of Bavel and send them to France so that the Baalei Tosfos could be born. What? Oh, this is the most unbelievable.
It's the same Baalei Tosfos that says God is physical?
No.
Rabbeinu Tam?
No.
No, I didn't hear that part.
No.
No, he's talking about Rabbeinu...
Oh, I just heard it. Baalei Tosfos.
No, not Moshe Taku. Rabbeinu Tam, Zuri, has a body, yes. In the Ktav Tamim.
Yeah.
Ktav Tamim?
What's it called?
Ktav Tamim. It exists only in manuscript. You have to look it up in the PDF. It's really a pain in the neck to read. Really a pain.
Does he say it, or does he explain it?
No. He thinks it's Shevirat to not believe that God has a body. He doesn't say he's physical. He says a body. It's different.
Does he bring a bunch of proofs to it, or does he just have one line that says God is physical?
No. He's like, this is obvious. If you don't believe it, you're a heretic.
And that's it?
And doesn't it?
No, he's like, the pasuk says he has a hand. The pasuk says he has this. What do you want from my life? Chazal say it. The pasuk everywhere. He has a hand, he has an eye, he has a this, he has a that. What? Right, I think it's Ktav Tamim, I think. Ktav Tamim, I think. I think that's what it's called. It's been a while since I've looked it up in the manuscript. I did once look it up. I did once actually look up in the original. You can get a copy of it. So in the Gush library, they have one. I looked at it, it's impossible to read. It's oh my god. It's nightmarish. What? No, it's in handwriting. Mamish, it's maybe it's published by this point, but it was Mamish, copied of, hand, it was unbelievable. Anyways, but no, he meant Rabbeinu Tam. Remember, the Baalei Tosfos are our heroes. We love the Baalei Tosfos.
It's really funny if God kicked the Jews out, so they create the Baalei Tosfos as God is physical.
Fine. We Mamish, look, remember, in my family we love the Baalei Tosfos. We name our kids for Baalei Tosfos. We love the Baalei Tosfos.
How many of the individual Baalei Tosfos do we know their names?
Hundreds. There's a 2-volume book by Ephraim Urbach, just going through them. Yes.
My personal favorite.
Meaning, Meir is after the Marami Rutenberg, right? And Ezra, so Shmuel is after the Rashbam and Shmuel Afalej. And Ezra is not actually after a Baalei Tosfos, except technically there is one Baalei Tosfos at least named Ezra, who was a very strange Baal HaTosfot. He was one of the Rebbeim of the Maram Württemberg, named Ezra Hanavi of Mankantor. So don't ask me. He's very interesting. Very interesting Baal HaTosfot.
Was that a title he was given?
Yes, Ezra Hanavi of Mankantor. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing the last word correctly. Ezra Hanavi, I know I'm pronouncing correctly. Mankantor, I'm not sure I am.
What's the story? There has to be a story behind that.
Yes, he was a prophet. Don't ask me, I don't know. He had like visions and all sorts of things. Interesting. Interesting stuff. Okay. Good times. Aaron is not after Baal HaTosfot. That was because Rav Lichtenstein had passed away right before Aaron was born. And that sort of superseded. Anyways, so Rav Hutner continues. And he says, I'll give you another Gemara. The Gemara in Kedushin, I didn't give it to you on the source. It says that even a parent and child, or Rebbe and his Talmud, Nasim. It's so funny. You can tell when someone wrote something Baal Peh by what mistakes he makes. Right? This is something that Rav Rimon does sometimes. Is you can tell whether someone wrote something by looking in the Gemara or because he knew Shas Baal Peh and therefore makes slight little mistakes. So it happens to be that this is not the Gersa in our Gemara. It's not Sonim Zelazeh. It's Nasim Oivim Zelazeh. Unless I'm forgetting it, but I'm pretty sure that it's Oivim Zelazeh. I've looked it up probably more recently. Pretty sure it's Oivim. It could be different Gersot, I don't know. V'einam zazim misham ad shenasim ohavim zelazeh. One of us was saying this Gemara Baal Peh, and I don't know which one right now. Okay, I'm gonna, well, you can look it up now. And they don't leave until they love each other. So he says, "Bashkafa rishona hadvarim alalu ba'im lashmineinu et haributa." One way of reading this is that the love that is generated by Torah is so great. You looking it up? 30b, I believe. So he says, so one way of reading this is that the Torah generates love. Lefi havana zo haributa hi bekan ki lamrot hasinah shel shata machloket, that despite the fighting, haribasov ba'i ahava umachriota, in the end love will surpass it. Ve'enam zazim misham ashon oavim. Aval, but he says mechevan shenit bahara lo nukudazo, but he said what? No, oavim before that. The line before Oavim. Before Oavim. The end is Oavim. What are they before? Sonim or Oavim? Oavim. Wow. 10 points. Okay. 10 points for me. Okay. But that means he was doing it Baal Peh, but I was also doing it Baal Peh. But no. That's fine.
So his Baal Peh was better?
What?
So your Baal Peh was better?
It could be he had different years for all I know. I don't know. Or he's paraphrasing. I don't know. But look, I'm not,
I'm sure he was going to.
What?
I'm sure he was going to.
Oivim, Sonim, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Okay, anyways. Sorry, on He. Sorry. It just went down, right?
Yeah.
So he says, but he said, I have a different shot. But once I tell you that machloket is a higher level, what we're saying is it's not saying that they love each other despite the machloket. No. The love is created by the machloket. Because what's the highest level of love? Joint creation. Right? Like parents. Is it the love is created by the fact that because they were fighting, they created a new Chefza Shel Torah. Asher Shmohu Melchamta Shel Torah. Now Vav. The Chozrim Anu bazel achad bari mitzvut shel machlok b'divrei Torah v'halacha halechet meshech yamenu elad nolda amnam b'choshek. Gavan and they get into a sort of idea that maybe this notion of machloket, we get something from the Greeks. Mikol makom ein mitzvut zer shir b'gulat Yavan adra porkana Chanukah. This is a mamar Chanukah, so then he ties it into Chanukah, but we don't have time to get into it now. Okay, but he says that this idea of machloket, that it creates new Torah, is the Jewish view. So what Rav Hutner does, and again, this is one of Rav Blau's examples of this paradoxical thinking, right? Where he looks at it and takes something which the Gemara thinks is bad, combines it with another Gemara which clearly says this moment was good, in some sense, and instead of saying, well, it's good and bad, it has good aspects, bad aspects, he says, no, what looks to you like it's bad is good. It is good.
He's just keeping with the other.
And therefore, he's saying, therefore, it's as if God said, Shkoyach, I'm forgetting the Torah. But only because it allows you to create more. And that's his paradoxical read. And if that's the case, now going back to the point I started with Rabbi Blachman, right? Now it sort of makes sense that Matan Torah is the holiday in which we celebrate the receiving of the broken luchot, right? That which enabled human participation. Right? Another way of saying this, which many of the Achronim say, is that the other way that you see that what we're celebrating as human contribution to Torah is that according to Chazal, there was a machloket between God and Moshe on which day the Torah should be given. God said, I want to give the Torah on Vav Sivan. And Moshe said, I want it on Zayin Sivan. Because of how they understood Acharit 3 days. Right? When does the 3 days start? And who won? Moshe. Right? Moshe, which means that we celebrate Vav Sivan as the day that, not that we got the Torah, but Moshe convinced God to give the Torah the next day. We celebrate not the day we got the Torah, but the day that we proved that that human involvement in Torah is so important that we can even paskin against God and God will listen.
Is this why we reject gospels?
Yes. Lo Bashamayim. That's exactly why. The same line is what is invoked for Lo Bashamayim. So this is the paradoxical read of Rav Hutner, which I think is both in insight into the way that Rav Hutner thinks about Chazal and the complexity of Agadata and life in general. It's also a nice pre-Shavuos idea, and another look on Agadata that we've seen several times. What time is it?
54.
Okay, good. So we have a few more minutes. So let's try to get through a few more ideas. If we don't get through everything, Zelo Sofa Olam.
I think there's an internally.
So let us. Okay, you know what? Let's look, because this is another personality that we haven't seen this year. So let's try Rav Shimon Shkop, okay, in 5, just to try to meet some more people, so to speak. So Rav Shimon Shkop comments in this Gemara as well. It says Ve'efshar leva'er. I got a new shot for you. This is a very fascinating thought. He said, I don't understand. What was Moshe's thought? That because the Jews sinned, so now they don't deserve to have Torah? Was that his shot? Like, of all things, you're sinning. And he said, wouldn't it have been a better idea if Moshe had brought them the Torah and taught it to them? Isn't that a better way of getting towards tshuva? Right? Not like, oh, you violated a sin? Okay, I'm never going to let you look at Torah again. How about you sinned? Let's sit down. Let's learn something. Let's realize what you did was wrong. Right? What was this? You sinned? Okay, forget it. Don't bother learning. He says, "Avalol shabbat magamrei." Who does this? You break them? He said, "Well, right? Why did he break them and beg to God?" And he said, "Furthermore, what does the Gemara say? Right? That if the Torah, that they hadn't been broken, they never would have forgotten the Torah, right? Which meant, how does he understand that line? Said what that's telling you that there's a power in the first luchot. If you learn Torah from it, you automatically had an eidetic memory. Whether you did or not, learning from that gave you a photographic memory of that Gemara. You knew all of Torah, chapter and verse. Okay?
Wow, we can finally discuss Tanakh.
I do not have an eidetic memory. Anyways, it says Inyan ze hirgesh Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom shalul al yidei ze eliyot chilul hakodesh nor ha'ma'ot shasheis david sheyeh ish mushchat u'migual masim ra'im. He said, you know what happened? Now this is not a positive read of Rav Hutner. He said, what was he worried about? But it's also an important read. He said, look, the Gra has a part. I'll say this and I'll continue. The Gra has a part. Why is it the Torah is compared to rain? So he has the fascinating shot because he said rain will make anything grow. If what you plant is beneficial, it'll make beneficial things grow. But if what you plant is detrimental, Torah will make that grow too. Meaning, Torah has the power to increase things, but if you are poisoned, me'ikara, it'll make you even worse. That you can misuse the Torah. Torah has that power that if you are corrupt, the Torah will allow you to be more corrupt. So this is something like that is what Rav Shimon Shkop says. He said, if you're already corrupt, and then what happens? You learn Torah, and you're a baki b'chal chadrei Torah, right, and you learn the whole Torah, that's going to be really, really, really bad. Because it was Maseh Elokim, but he said, but the second ones were Luchot Achronim were Maseh Yedei Adam. So look after the ellipsis. He says, "Tchilat Kabbalat Torah Moshe Rabbeinu Hayta Lahem." Alav Shalom Hayta Dumut Va'ot L'Kol Bnei Yisrael Mekablei Torah. Moshe Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu Moshe Rabbeinu Alav Shalom Solach Hashem L'Chol Avanim. Kmo Chen Yerem Zekol Mekablei Torah. Yechavein Kol Ish She'echin Kol Ish Yisrael L'Chol B'Atzmo L'Chtov Aleim Dvar Hashem. Kvi Achsharato B'Chanan L'Chol Ken Tiyeh Kabalato. מתחילה וכן גם אחר זה נקלו אצלו ללכות אז לא תקיים התורה וידי זה לא יהיה מצוי כל כך עניין פחד משה מן השלום שלפי ערך מעלת האדם ירד השם במידות שהוא הולך לבבו ערך זה יינתן לו מן השמיים כעניין התורה ויבוא אחר כך ממדרגתו לפי ערך זה תשכח התורה ממנו כמו שאמרו חז"ל שכמה עניינים גורמים לשכחת התורה כמו לצם ודבר גדול זה אמרו חז"ל אחר שכתוב בסיומה של תורה וכל ידע חז"ל שעשה משה לעיני כל ישראל. He said what he was teaching them was that this was supposed to be a model for them. That just like God said, look, write new luchot, this is what he wanted to teach them was that everybody can be like Moshe. That you write the luchot for yourself, in your own way, with your own capabilities. And if it breaks, right, you mess it up, start again. What he was teaching them was dafka this, right, was that the Torah isn't something that is magical. The only way it's going to work is if you recognize you have to write your own Torah. If you mess up, you got to start again. Right? That's what he was teaching them. He didn't want them to have Torah that was magical and surpassed their ability and lived on no matter how they acted. What he did was break the Torah so that the Torah would be dependent on the ethical stance of the person. That it would be dependent on them, and therefore, just like Moshe could break it, if you need to break it, you'll break your own and you'll recreate it, which is also, I think, very different from Rav Hutner's point, right? His point is, no, you're right. Ideally, you should remember all the Torah. But that only works if people are good. If people are bad, you need Torah that can constantly be broken down and rebuilt, because otherwise, right, you could be a massive Talmid Chacham, but not stand for Torah, and that's a problem. Right, what Moshe was teaching them was, no, if you can't just have magic Torah that is independent of you living a life that is in consonance with that Torah. And therefore Moshe broke it to say that you too, every time you're not Zocha, you got to start again. Right? You got to write your own to make sure that it's in consonance with who you are. Okay, that's some more thoughts, but I heard that clock. Someone's go off for 10 o'clock. So if you want to look over some Shavuos things, you'll see that there's some other ideas on this Gemara here. But like I said, my main goal was to get you into Rav Hutner's thinking, so I think we did.